because they're like I'm like nerding out on Chrome extensions right now. Have you ever even made one?
I've bought one, so we have one right
You
now.
have one. So
Yeah.
on here, so I tweeted out. So this is a mutual friend of ours, by the way, but I can't say who it is. They were considering buying a company, and it was a Chrome extension, and it was two people who were doing $25 million a year in sales with their Chrome extension. It's pretty crazy. And then Grammarly, you know Grammarly?
Yeah.
Grammarly, I think, is like a $20 billion company at this point. Grammarly does like 800 million in revenue.
That is why I like these sleeper ones that people kind of just like don't.
Dude, Grammarly's the best, man. It started by this guy named Max, who's I think he's from like the Ukraine, and lives in Canada, and he's a hardcore engineer. And I asked him at HustleCon in the backstage, like they bootstrapped it and they raised their funding. They raised $100 million at $1 billion valuation, and I was with him backstage, and I was like, dude, that's amazing. So you're like almost a billionaire now. He goes, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like the business is way bigger than no. And he like smirked, but he was real low key. He's like, yeah, it's cool. The business is way bigger than most people realize. Like it's gonna be huge, and it was awesome. So Grammarly's a good business. What's your Chrome extension?
Leo.io.
What's it do?
So it's kind of similar to that Momentum one, which I think is pretty popular. It's the main one when you open up a tab, it has like a nice background. I think taking a step back on these Chrome extensions, I think what's interesting about your tweet, which was like this Chrome extension make 25 million, or these is what are things that not everyone else is paying attention to that you can acquire for not a market rate. Like I think ultimately that's how you can have a lot of success in business, but that's specifically for marketing a lot of what I look for. So when we launched Sumo.com, I actually bought probably about 5 million installs, I think give or take 5 million installs of WordPress plugins. So I bought like some of the most popular WordPress plugins around.
Oh wait, which ones?
I'm gonna have to pull up our list now, but the biggest one was Google Analytics. So it was like a million person install. Yeah, so it was Google Analyticator. We bought WP fonts. We bought Construction Page. So basically,
Dude,
what
I
I did
used
is
WP fonts. I used a bunch of those.
yeah, so we scraped the thing that it's not just copying this because now people are more aware of it. But what you're looking for is like, one, can you get structured data? So we went to the WordPress directory and you get all their rankings. So I got all the rankings and then I sorted it by ones that were not updated recently. So I said, which ones have the most installs that no one's taking care of? And I would just email them and say, hey, you haven't taken care of it. I'll pay you for it. And because there's not a market for it, you can get a cheaper price. And then I just sent a blast email to a lot of these people and picked up millions of installs. And that drove a significant amount of Sumo.com.
Did you even pay more than 6 figures for any of them?
For the Google Analytics one, they had a million installs, I paid 100K.
Wow, that's crazy, isn't it?
That was the most expensive one. I could pull up my price.
Could that Google? So for the people listening, WordPress. If you don't use WordPress, I mean, WordPress is used by like 3/4 of the internet, or half of like the top 10,000 websites, and they have this like crazy database of all types of apps that you could use or plugins. It's amazing. And Sumo was a email capture plugin.
Yeah, I found our list. We had a lot of. I bought all-in-one Favicon, just a bunch of random ones, and then we would rebrand them and then cross-promote to Sumo.com within WordPress. And I was thinking I would do the same. And the thing was, is there's not like these websites where people are buying and selling them, and a lot of these guys weren't monetizing. It was just hobbies. And so I think in marketing and business, you got to look for something that's a problem that other people haven't identified. And that's also why I bought the Chrome extension. I bought it for I bought it for 25,000 for 40,000 installs, active installs on Chrome. But with that one, we could not monetize it at all. We tried like paid features, we tried ads to it, we tried to grow it, and we were not successful. So I pretty much lost almost all the money on that one.
What's the CPM on ads for a Chrome plugin? Do you know?
I don't remember what it was, but it was abysmal. And it wasn't something that we were able to grow dramatically like I thought we could. Like the WordPress stuff was really cheap. Like we were getting that stuff super cheap back then.
That's crazy. There's this guy. Like there's this guy who I bet you know, who you definitely know. I think his name's Syed. What's his name? Syed. His last name starts with a B. And he owns this thing called Awesome. What's it called? It's called Awesome Corp or something.
He owns WP Beginner. He's like the WordPress underground mafia. He owns a lot of WordPress blogs.
Let me explain the story that I know it as. So basically, he's young. I think he's from Pakistan, and he's only like 28 or something, or 29. And he started this thing called WP Beginner, which is a site on WordPress. So if you like how to install blank on WordPress, he'll show up number one. It gets like 5 or 10 million uniques a month, a ton of uniques a month. And using his blogs, he would see which plugins would get the most installs. So he would say like, here are all the best like forms for WordPress, or here's all the best like font plugins for WordPress, and he would just see which are the best. He would buy the best ones and then just promote them extra hard on WP Beginner. And at this point, I bet you he makes $50 million a year on all of his WordPress stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I love these industries that like everyone's sleeping on. Like I think that WordPress stuff is really interesting. It probably is still a decent category. What's fascinating though is the other side of the same. So I actually tried to do the same strategy in Shopify apps. So I went over to Shopify and we were launching Sumo.com on Shopify, and I was like, man, I'll just go buy all these people over there. What was interesting was that a lot of the people on Shopify were a little bit more savvy and they had recurring revenue. So they were like, we want 10x the price, where like 10x price of their revenue. Where the WordPress plugins weren't really making money. So I was like, hey, I'll pay 1 cent for every active install you have. So I was getting them for very, very cheap. But the Shopify ones, like I literally couldn't buy one.
So our friend Andrew Wilkinson bought a couple of them and he rolled them up and eventually took it public. And it's public on the Canadian Stock Exchange right now, probably for $600 million market cap. It's called WeCommerce. And they do like, I think $30 million a year in revenue just off Shopify apps.
The Shopify ecosystem was interesting. I mean, it's interesting if you can create something really easily and other people can copy really easily, and then you don't control the payments. It was a whole wild experience there. The Shopify controls all the money. You don't. You have to wait for your grandpa to give you your nickels, and they control the whole thing. So we were like, let's get the hell out of this world. But yeah, WeCommerce looks like 535 Canadian, which is what, like 100 million American?
No, not that bad. Yeah, it's like, what's the conversion of Monopoly money to USD?
There are some other ones, right? So we have Pinterest, was started as, I believe, a Chrome extension. So it was the pin button that basically was able to get all the content for Pinterest to be a good, cool app. You needed a quick way to pin while you're surfing the web. So that was one. And then there's others that like for example, if I look at the plugins that I have installed, I have AdBlock or uBlock Origin or whatever. That's definitely one of them. And so I think this was one of those non-obvious ideas. It kind of feels like not a serious company. It's like you just making this like plugin. And definitely there's a lot of people like my mom doesn't know what Chrome extensions are. She doesn't know there's a Chrome extension store. She doesn't really know how to install them. Like she knows apps, but she doesn't know Chrome extensions. So you're gonna get a little bit more of a tech savvy audience. It's a smaller market overall. But the friction is a big deal.
I actually want to change your opinion of that. So I went and looked at the numbers. There's 1.6 billion iPhone users. Okay, 1.6 billion users, 2 million iPhone apps in the store right now. Chrome users, 3 billion Chrome users, 200,000 plugins. There's a ton of opportunity here. I hear you that like your mom doesn't know how to do this, but does your mom, if she saw a commercial on TV for Grammarly, I bet you she would know what to do. Use Grammarly.com.
Actually, she does Grammarly because of that. She saw it and she's self-conscious about her English because she's learning this later in life, and she like doesn't want to write something stupid, so she downloaded Grammarly for that reason actually.
And so that's why when I saw this Toucan thing, I was like, oh, you just run a commercial that's on TV? That's easy. You're gonna get so many users. And the plugin, the reason why the plugins are interesting to me is the churn is so low. Churn on plugins are so low compared to iPhone apps or.
And we both have plugins. You have a plugin for the hustle. I have a plugin for my one big thing framework of just like
what's the churn on it?
There's like no churn on it. We have like thousands of users now. The engagement's not super high. Like I don't always use the thing, but they leave it installed, and it's like so we both dabbled in this. Not seriously, I would say neither of us took it super seriously, but we were interested enough for both of us to build a Chrome extension and get it out there to 5,000 to 10,000 people.
It's interesting, and I think that I just think that people discount it, and I think that it's far more interesting than most people realize. And so I actually had a Brave pull some of the biggest plugins. So it's AdBlock Plus, Adobe Acrobat. What do you use Adobe Acrobat for?
I don't know, probably like Flash or something. I don't know.
Safe Price, which is a deal thing. Video conferencing from Cisco. Google Translate, which is kind of an indicator for Toucan, which is interesting. Honey, Pinterest Save Button, Skype. What's Tamper Monkey?
I don't know, it looks like it's trying to keep you safe.
See,
It was
well,
cool with Ghost Read back in the day. That would just show you who's trying to track you on every website you go to. That was kind of cool, and try to shut that down. There's also these paid ones. So was there anything interesting in the paid group?
no, but tell me about the ones that you've invested in because they're actually similar. And so in this document that we have, I said screenshots would be great, and you said, oh, I invested in this thing called Bubbles, which I remember you telling me about it. What is that?
Bubbles is a lot like Loom, which we talked about earlier. So the idea is, how do you easily share what's on your screen with your coworker who wants to see it and be able? And so how do you do that? Some people just take a screenshot, right? They use hotkey on the keyboard, they take a screenshot, and it goes into their desktop file, and they have to go grab that, and they drag and drop that to the friend, and the friend has to comment on it, but they can't comment on it. They have to like send it back as another file. It's kind of annoying, right? So what Bubbles does is much simpler. It says it's a little Chrome extension, and on any page you go to, you can say, I want to record a screen recording, like video. I want to take a screenshot, or my favorite one is a scroll screenshot. So like, when you're on a website that like is long, and you want to take screenshots of the website, you have to take like 8 screenshots and then send them as separate files.
Yeah, depending.
With this, just take one long screenshot and send it to the person. So it's easy to capture what's on your screen. You can then comment like Bubbles, so it's like a speech bubble. So you just click anywhere where you want to point something out on the screen. Like let's say for the hustle, you want to make the trends website better. You would click Bubbles, you would record a screenshot, you would tap on the part of the screen where you're like, this thing is stupid, we need to change this, and you would write, this thing is stupid, we need to change this, and then the whole file is a link. You just share a link with somebody else, and they can comment back like a Google Doc. And so
Is it doing well?
Yeah, it's doing well. Specifically, actually, the initial niche that they've done well with is agencies. And so agencies are creative agencies. There's always creative people within the team that are sending ideas, mock-ups, concepts back and forth with each other, and then they have to share with the client also. And the client has to give feedback. So there's a lot of showing screen stuff and commenting back and forth on it. And so that's where they're getting the initial foothold. I think it'll kind of break out from there. So it's like Loom, but it does more than what Loom does.
And what's Dashworks?
So Dashworks is a company I've invested in that is it's like the homepage for your company. So this is a Chrome extension that's sold to companies. So let's say somebody joins the hustle, you give them their laptop. If you work with Dashworks, when they open up their Google Chrome for the first time to use the internet, they would not just see like the generic Google like new tab page. They would see like the hustle's branded page, and that page can do 3 things. One, there's a search bar, and you can type in anything into that search bar, and it'll find the file inside your company. So like most companies now use Slack and Google Drive and Dropbox and Asana and GitHub and like all these different tools. They're all in the cloud. So like if you've ever been on your MacBook and you want to find a file, you just use like the little Spotlight search finder, right? You just type it in Spotlight, find the file on your computer. But the thing is now with the cloud, none of the files you need are on your computer. They're all in the cloud. So this is basically that search bar for all your cloud apps. So now so what it does is it helps any employee find any file that's in your network without knowing where to go to find it. Right? It's just like
Is it working?
Yeah, this is cool. So then the second thing you can do is you can search anyone's name. So I could be like, oh, what is Steph Smith? Do a puzzle. I type Steph. It'll show me her profile, show me what she does, who she reports to, and that sort of thing. And the last thing is that you as the kind of CEO or your kind of your admin at the company can post announcements or updates that will show up in their Chrome like new tab bar. So you can be like, oh, welcome these new employees, or like happy birthday to this person, or hey, remember this Friday we're all doing happy hour or whatever. And so it's a kind of communication pipe also. So that helps cool. They're taking the Chrome extension to deliver critical internal company stuff, search for people, search for files, and internal announcements.
So this is interesting. And another one, I actually don't know how to say this company, but you wrote it in here. Can you pronounce that?
Luster.
Jack, our friend Jack, was one of the early users, and I think invested in it, and he says that it's awesome. But basically, they look at Wirecutter, Amazon, and dozens of other sources, and anytime you have a product in front of you, it tells you the average review. Kind of interesting.
I think it's a little better than that. I think what they do is you say
my description was about a year ago.
I think what it does is you go on Amazon or wherever and you search for flat screen TV, and there's so many products out there, and all of them, great. It's 4 stars. What do I make of that? And so what Luster does is try to make the buying process simpler. So it'll basically say, here's the recommended option for what you searched for. Our AI has searched all the reviews, all the different websites, has all this data to tell us that this is the most popular result for what you're looking for, and then here's the high-end version of it, and here's maybe the low-end version of it. And so I don't know if the product's evolved too much since then, but that's what it kind of did at that time. Was it would help you figure out which product should you actually buy using data. And again, you didn't have to remember to go to Luster. It was a Chrome extension, so you're just on any website shop. You can go to Walmart, go to Amazon, you go to BestBuy.com, wherever you're searching, and Luster will be like, hey, here's the product we recommend, and here's why. Here's what the reviews say about it, summarized automatically for you, which I thought was pretty cool.
I think that this could be a good product. When he pitched it to me, when Jack told me about it, I was like, this is stupid. I'm not in. I understand though. I think I was wrong about it. It's really cool. So
the founders were really smart. And for this one, he showed me a graph that was doing pretty well. So here's some other ideas of things. So those are ideas that we've either invested in or seen. I have a couple more for you. So let's use your framework of take a popular app like Duolingo that shows that there's a need or a demand. People want to learn language, and you make it a Chrome extension as the user experience instead of a mobile app. So
or at least one of the main widgets or main points of distribution.
Right. So let's take meditation. Right. You have Headspace, you have Calm. Why don't you have a Chrome extension, a Chrome plugin that will basically say it'll see you've been browsing for 2 hours straight. You have 85 tabs open. Hey, let's take a minute. Would you like to earn some mindfulness points and take a 1-minute quick meditation? And you tap a thing, it turns on, makes a clock, and there's like a guided voice that's doing a guided meditation for you. I think meditation delivered through a Chrome extension could work because it's so popular as a mobile app. But again, for a mobile app, you have to remember to go do it. Whereas this could just kind of like as you go, it could pause you and help you out.
That's great. I think that has legs. I'll keep going with this game. Do you know do you on your iPhone? What's that thing called where it blocks you from using a website after a certain amount of time?
Oh yeah, like time something. I don't know.
Do you use that?
I never use that shit. No. Do you?
Yeah, I mean I have it installed.
Screen time.
Screen time. I used to have this Chrome plugin called Nukem. I think it was called Nukem, or the option was called Nukem, where after a certain amount of time you would nuke your website and you cannot go to certain websites. So you can only go to like Google Docs, email, and that was it. I loved it. So similar to meditation, I would 100% try to create more of these. What do you call this? Stop using stuff app.
Right. Yes. Defend yourself against yourself. Okay,
yes,
I have a smart idea and I have a gimmick idea. Which one do you want?
Okay.
Smart one or the gimmick one?
Smart one first.
All right, smart one first. Okay, we had you mentioned the founder of Superhuman. He's the guy who built Reportive before that. We both love Reportive. It doesn't exist now, so some people might not know what it is. But what Reportive was doing was when you were emailing somebody, as soon as you typed in their name or their email, a little sidebar would pop out your email. It would just show you their face, show you their name, show you the last few tweets.
It was like at the time it was like magic. We were like, how on earth do they know all this?
It just makes you a more thoughtful person because you can see the person, you can see what they're up to, you can click their LinkedIn, get a little more information. And it kind of did like it served it up. It was like you had an amazing assistant, an executive assistant who was like, by the way, sir, you need to know this about this person. So I think you can take Reportive all around the web. So I think you can make it where anytime it sees a name on a web page, it just highlights it yellow, and if you just hover over that, it'll just tell you something about that person. So I think you could bring this idea of like anytime you see a name, tell me a little bit more about that person. I think you can turn that into a Chrome extension rather than something that's just for email.
How would you make money off of it?
Ads. Boom. That's my easy answer. I don't know.
Oh, all right.
Okay, but here's my gimmick one, which definitely needs ads. So I think there should be a Chrome extension. Let me take it back. I don't think this should exist. I think this would be funny if somebody tried to do this. So if you ever remember $1 million homepage, it was kind of this cool idea of like, here's a website, there's 1 million pixels on the page, buy pixel and sponsor. Okay, that's cool. I've always thought about similar ideas. How could you make $1 million off something simple and goofy? And there's this concept in the Bitcoin world of I think it's called a fountain or a tap. And it's basically a website where you go to, and then sometimes there's like think about like a spout like a fountain, and sometimes free Bitcoin comes out. And so a bunch of people like to go to these so some projects use these to say like, go collect your coin, my new coin, go there and get some. And you go to the website, you collect some of the new coin that you can get. And then other people have done this, be like, hey, sometimes something comes out, sometimes it doesn't. It's a game of chance.
It's like a what do they call this? They call it a There's this company that did this with candles. We talked about them. It was called like Diamond Candles, I think. And at the bottom of every single candle, we're talking candles like a wax candle that you burn in your bathtub or whatever, like cool candles. That's fucking the only way I know to use fucking candles is the bath.
I like you start dropping F-bombs to like get masculine real quick while talking about bathtub candles.
Dude, I use my bath bombs, or what do they call it? Anyway, I've got all of them. I'm a sensitive guy, man. And anyway, they at like 1 in 10,000 candles probably has a $1,000 diamond.
Right.
The rest have like nothing, something, but like a cracker jack ring. And what you could do with this is you could always have coupons or discounts off of something, and if you redeem them, you get the Chrome Extension gets a kickback. But every once in a while, 1 out of X does get a Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah. So something like that, where basically every time you open a new tab, there's a little package in the middle of the screen. You give it a quick click, and then you're either gonna get nothing, you get air, you get a tiny little something, it's like a puzzle piece or something, or you can actually get some Bitcoin. You get little snowshoes basically. And so it would just become this like a little hamster game where every time you open a new tab, are you really gonna not click the thing? And so I think if you get a lot of people to install this to try to get free Bitcoin while they browse the internet, every time you open a new tab, it's like a little mini scratch off lottery ticket that they get to scratch off. That might have some crypto inside. And if you give away little shit coins, if you give away micro amounts of Bitcoin, you give away little puzzle pieces. And if you get it right, it's like a Monopoly game at McDonald's, you actually earn the Bitcoin if you get all the pieces. You can make a game out of it basically. And then the rest of the screen you just plaster with ads, or sometimes what comes out of the box is just an ad. And I think that's how you make money off of my gimmick Chrome Extension.
Well, I hope someone tries this because I think it would be hilarious that they create a product out of your joke. So long story short, we'll move on from Chrome plugins, but I think it's so cool. I think people are underestimating this space a ton, and I'm excited to see what comes out of there.
The last thing I'll say on this is the general idea here is just there's a platform with 3 billion users and it has an app store. There's gonna be winners. Right, now that I look back, isn't it obvious? Like I still stand by, hey, there's only 200,000 Chrome extensions and there's 2 million apps, right? So it's 10 times less. But hey, like doesn't matter. There's several winners that we talked about here. So I would say, how many other platforms are like this, right? So like, there's everyone talks about apps in the Google Play or the Apple Store, but what else is there, right? Like HubSpot has a platform. Salesforce has a platform. Slack has a platform. Where are all these platforms? And there's gonna be winners. Like once these platforms reach critical mass, somebody's gonna build something that's frictionless on top of it that is able to generate revenue. So I think there's money to be made in the unconventional app platforms that you don't really think about first.
Yeah, and I could go on forever about it. I think it's WordPress. I think there's Google Sheets. I think there's Gmail. I mean, it's a lot of Google stuff, but I think there's way more than people think. Chrome plugins. And I'm like, well, this company Duolingo is very successful. It's a $5 billion company, I think. I've been thinking about Chrome plugins. What I'm thinking is like, do 2 things. 1, look at successful companies already that do over 100 million in sales and just say, well, how can I just create this in the form of a Google plugin? Or 2, which behaviors do people want, but they don't do it because there's a little bit of friction, and how can I use this plugin to alleviate that friction?
Right.
Now, there's a ton of downside with Google plugins. You're a Google plugin, so Google can ruin you. But it's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly interesting to me, and that's what I wanted to bring up was some Google plugin stuff. And so basically I don't know if this is how she did it, but she basically, or the way that I look at it is you just look at what behaviors are people already doing. So for example, learning a language. People already want to learn a language. You just change the text of the article to a different language, or at least parts of it. Grammarly did this with grammar. So you just fix it as you write. One that I use all the time is SimilarWeb. So it tells me the traffic of someone's website. Passwords, you use passwords on a regular basis. So a plugin just inserts different passwords. And Loom is another one. Have you heard of Loom?
Oh yeah, my buddy was with the guy who started it.
Isn't that worth like $1 billion?
Not yet, but getting close. It's several hundred millions. I think it was the last round.
And all it does is screen recordings.
Yeah. So they basically say, oh, you want to show something on your screen? Here's a click, boom, record, share. So the 2 famous ones that everybody kind of has heard about is Honey, because Honey sold to PayPal for $4 billion. So Honey had, I think, 17 million users when they sold. And what Honey does is, if you're about to go check out on some website, Honey will go in the background. It's looking for, is there a deal on this? Is there a coupon for this or a sale for this somewhere else, or a coupon you can use right now? And it surfaces a discount. Okay, that makes total sense. I don't have to take an action. I don't have to remember to go look for a coupon. It's just going to do it, and the Honey sign just glows whenever it has a discount available for you. So that was one. Grammarly was another that I think shocks people because Grammarly does over $100 million a year.
So the Grammarly founder spoke at HustleCon, and he's an engineer. He's like a very by the book, like straight shooter engineer. He's really cool. His name's Max. And I was like shooting the shit with him, and I was like, dude, a freaking plugin. Who would have thought? And he kind of had like a funny shit eating grin on, and I was like, how big are you guys? He's like, we do over $100 million a year in sales. And I was like, did you ever believe it? He was like, yeah, I thought it could be done. And then I go, you just raised money? He goes, yeah, we raised $100 million the other day. I go, why? He goes, because it was at north of $1 billion valuation.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, you pulled it off.
Yeah, they did, exactly. So those are like the big successors, but there are some other ones, right? So we have Pinterest was started as, I believe, Chrome extension. So it was the pin button that basically was able to get all the content for Pinterest to be a good, cool app. You needed a quick way to pin while you're surfing the web. So that was one. And then there's others that like for example, I look at the plugins that I have installed. I have AdBlock or uBlock Origin or whatever. That's definitely one of them. And so I think this was one of those non-obvious ideas because it kind of feels like not a serious company. It's like you're just making this like plugin. And definitely there's a lot of people like my mom doesn't know what Chrome extensions are. She doesn't know there's a Chrome extension store. She doesn't really know how to install them. Like she knows apps, but she doesn't know Chrome extensions. So you're gonna get a little bit more of a tech savvy audience. It's a smaller market overall. But
So
the friction is
I'm
a big deal.
I actually want to change your opinion of that. So I went and
why it's doing that. It's very strange. Quite a lot I can do with Facebook here. Just kind of thinking a bit. I really want to lean into this ad blocker. I'm sorry, not ad blocker, but Chrome extension world. See if I can open this up. Or this is really interesting. So I could go to this site, open up the debugger. I forget how to. I forgot how to get to web dev tools quickly. But basically, the analytics debugger lives here. And it's best on the side here, like that. But it'll show me, how they've got everything configured. So I've got their analytics and their both analytics, GA4 and UA. So I'm just gonna kind of clunkily go through this a bit. I think they gave me access, but we're about to find out, aren't we? I've got access to quite a few different accounts here. But yeah, it doesn't look like I have that one yet. But it's all good. So yeah, basically this is cool for the mobile app. Pretty smart. Can't see it there, but I can just kind of walk through it here. So we've got these, we got this going on with the data layer. I need to be in preview mode to see some of these other things. We got the ideas along as well as some of these other things enabled. Looks like they have server-side GTM. Consent mode is not set, which is really interesting. But details around session ID and all this good stuff, I would imagine I can also get click ID out of these guys, which would be really, really powerful stuff. but I love the fact that it's really clear here that we have the ID, because I can do some things with this. G4 spy, I can click over. I don't know what this is. There's a lot. There's a lot to play with in this. Let's see it. See what we got. Enhanced measurement is on. Cross domain tracking is on. List client side tagging behavior. Cross domain, unwanted referrals. All this stuff. And so this is saying disabled on Google Signals, but as you noticed, Google Signals here was enabled right here. So I don't know. That's just one of those things we'll have to see about. But having client ID here is pretty cool. Having this here is cool. I don't know what this guy is. What the difference is here. But there's a page view event. I don't think they're going to. It's just a second GA4 looks like. Actually, we can check it real quick. I might as well. Comparison generator. What is this? It'd be interesting to know why and how this is working. But okay, this has some stuff going on. Only has a purchase event. It's not very telling of anything really. Just a purchase event, everything else is unmodified. So either they're just not doing anything with their setup, or um, hmm, or the tool itself sucks. Okay, do they write it for you though? No, this is more like a knowledge base. It's just showing you recommended events. It's showing you enhanced measurement, stuff we already know. Okay. It's kind of more like a cheat sheet, I guess. They don't do this anymore. Check out progress, e-commerce purchase, deprecated. Interesting. These are automatic events. Add click's going to give me, okay, add event ID. I don't know if that's what I want. For add events, that's kind of cool. But it's not like a G-Clid. I wonder if you could use add click like you would use G-Clid or FB-Clid. Because essentially, if I have an add event ID, I could kind of put it in that place. And then that would be very useful for offline conversions. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, it's just a cheat sheet, and it's as recent as December. All right. Where's this Facebook thing coming from?
Best place. Someday I'd like to say gmail.com, but getting that domain name has been a challenge.
Yeah, actually, that's really interesting. Did someone like purchase that right when you guys launched, or was it already
No, it was already a purchased domain for years prior to me launching. It's not being used as an active website. It's some group in Ireland. They've been hard to get a hold of. I don't know.
wow? Well, they probably want to just bid it up, right? I mean, at this point,
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if they're aware of us though, really.
Really. That's hilarious. That's crazy how the internet could be. You could have millions of people using something and then still not know the domain is worth as much as it is. I mean, they could probably make a good amount of money for that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's wild. Well, again, thank you so much for being on the show, man. Any last words you'd like to leave the audience with?
No, if we had time, one of the most talked about things in cold email right now is email warm-up and whether the whole idea of email warm-up is going to go away, because Google sent out a letter to all of the platforms about a month ago saying, shut your warm-up platform down or else. So that's just
Okay, we can't end on that note now. Now we got to talk.
I know. I'm throwing the audience for a loop here, but
yeah,
it's an interesting thing that maybe we'll dig into next time.
No. Let's dig it. So I just explain a little more. Wait, so you're saying that I saw that notice, I think, from different platforms are posting it. So how are you maneuvering that? How are you thinking about that?
We are probably just going to shut our warm-up service down.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So
that's going to have a lot of ripple effects with all the email marketing platforms. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So there's basically two ways to do warm up from a technical perspective. You can use an API, you can use Gmail's API, or you can use this other protocol called IMAP, which is unrelated to the API. So what some services are doing, and I believe Lemlist and QuickMail are doing this, is
Instantly,
they have transitioned. Yeah, I think Instantly is fully based on IMAP, actually.
Yeah.
They have transitioned their service over to the IMAP protocol away from the API protocol. And we could do that too. It's just that I wouldn't be able to offer anything truly special. It would just be a Me Too product.
Right.
And so for that reason, it just doesn't make sense.
Right. Well, it's about being as good as possible in your lane, so you want to stay in your, and when I've used GMass, I've always thought of GMass as like some incredibly valuable tool that people can use for personalized sending, or even just sending like email campaigns for their business that doesn't require a lot of thought. I mean, you don't need to think you don't have to add all these different configurations to get it going. I mean, it takes less than 10 seconds to sign up, right?
Yeah,
So
that's in fact that's one of our slogans is send your first campaign in 6 seconds.
yeah. It is pretty nuts. I mean, I've used it for so long now, and that has definitely been my experience. And I'm sure you have a lot of lead gen companies who use it for their clients, and they
Yeah.
pay you, and it's like
Yeah.
a team account and stuff like
Yep.
that. 'Cause-
Well, yeah, I mean, the title of your podcast is How to Scale an Agency, and we didn't really dig into that, but yeah, agencies use GMass to cold email agencies use GMass
Yeah.
to scale for their clients.
Well, what do they do? So what do they do? I mean, how, because I mean, we've done that in the past, but how would you recommend an agency, a cold email agency, use this? I mean, what's the best route, would you say? Do you have like some examples, maybe not of businesses per se, but just the business models that work best? I mean, lead gen, maybe charging like your normal lead gen retainer,
Yep.
and then you use your software
Yep.
to run the campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen is most cold email agencies specialize in some niche. So a cold email agency might specialize in like local SEO, for example. And so the price that we charge for our subscriptions become irrelevant because what they're usually doing is bundling that in with their copywriting services and their other cold email consulting and strategy services, and then offering that as a high ticket consulting gig
Right.
for their clients. And so it becomes, they might be paying us $30 a month just for the software side of things, but they're charging their clients $3,000 a month because they're packaging it with their other services. And so it can become a really profitable thing. I mean, most cold email agencies are operating at high margins.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I would be remiss to not talk about this point either, which is how did the growth curve actually happen with GMass? Like, when did people really start using it? I mean, was it like year one, boom, just blew up, or was it took a few years and then just went crazy, or how did that?
So actually, our growth had been pretty consistent and no hockey stick pattern until the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, we had this explosion in users, probably just because there was this change going on in how people communicated generally, and where people were communicating in a non-digital way, they were now communicating digitally, and a lot of that went to email. And so GMass had this explosive growth at the beginning of the pandemic. That eventually tailed off because there was almost this like equilibrium effect that happened. We had this explosive growth at the beginning of the pandemic, and then at the middle and towards the end of the pandemic, a lot of companies went out of business because of the pandemic. So then we lost a lot of users as well. I'm not sure what the net effect is, but the net effect might be that our continuous linear growth is still what is revealed if you look at it over the long term.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I've interviewed some companies that grew a lot during the pandemic, and for a variety of different reasons, but definitely lead gen was a big one because a lot of people got their leads from networking in person, and now they can't anymore, right? So that's fascinating. Anything else you want to talk about? Because I mean, you have a lot of different topics that people are very interested in my audience. Anything that's been on your mind before we wrap up?
No, I think I think I got the lingering thoughts out.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Well, again, for anybody who has been listening or watching this episode, AJ's done a lot in the email space, cold email space. I've definitely thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, I've been looking forward to this interview for a while now, and this is great. We finally had the opportunity to get you on, so really appreciate it. If anyone has any questions for AJ, feel free to comment below on this, and maybe we'll shoot over to him and we can get some responses. I know a lot of people are watching these on YouTube now, as well as replying. Now there's a new feature on Spotify. You can reply and say, how'd you like the show? So feel free to ask questions, and anything you guys want, feel free to comment. So thank you again, AJ. Anybody who was interested in signing up for GMass, go gmass.co and sign up today. It's free, right? To sign up, you can start using it right away.
You can start using it for free, no credit card required.
That is fantastic. Great onboarding experience, frictionless. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for being on, and for everybody listening. This is another episode of How to Scale an Agency. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the future. On today's episode, we're going to be talking to the one and only David C. Baker. I did a little research about Mr. Baker. He's a very interesting person, super interesting. Here's things that I know about my guest today: that he studied language, history, and theology. This is like really interesting path into what it is that he's doing. He's considered by many as the expert's expert. What a great place to be. He's advised over 900 firms, and he's written this book, which we're going to talk a lot about today if we get the chance. And this is just one of 5 books that he's written, The Business of Expertise. So you could say that our guest knows something about expertise. He's also the co-host of Two Bobs with a guest that's been on the show before. You guys know him, Blair N.
All right, so basically what you're seeing here is I've had a couple of campaigns pause for a while now, and we're active again. Um, I've got so many more email inboxes. So when I first started this, I had maybe, let me think, 6 or 7, maybe 8. Now I've got 51. So I think I'm going to be able to reach a lot of people quickly. And my goal is to have one new uh, lead, a good lead, a warm lead come through this month. And if I can do that, then I'll feel confident in extending myself and pushing further on cold email. It has been a weird struggle to figure out what are the technical pitfalls, how much should you care about the setup, and then the more softer pieces of it are targeting the right list, first scraping the list, targeting the right people from that scrape. So I might scrape a company in a certain industry, but then I got to go figure out who I need to talk to at that company. And once I get that, I'm able to narrow it down to messaging. And so there's a lot of moving parts on the soft side of things where it's like, all right, I need to not only be super honed in on who I need to be speaking to, but I need to speak to them a certain way and reveal over time that I can help present some of the pitfalls and issues that they're going to likely come across. So there's a lot to consider, and yeah, I'm in the depths of it right now. I was told that 35 is a good daily limit. I'll probably switch that to 40 eventually here. Because I also heard about that, but it's just a lot, man. There's a lot to work on and deal with. So I know that one of these was misnamed. This one. So this should say Jordan Hill. Let me update it real quick. I don't know if they're gonna let me change the name on this one, which is really weird and frustrating. Okay, there's just nothing here. I guess it's not gonna be that big of a deal. It'd be kind of weird to see that in your inbox though. That's for sure. I'm gonna let it fly. So I'm gonna run these two for now. Um, Let me go check on these other ones. So one thing that I noticed when I just clicked on that is you can actually see if the warm up is ready to go. So this first party pro isn't any good right now. So I need to pause this. I'm not going to. I'll just check it. First party pro. Enabled. So we're like halfway there on those. All those are going to be halfway there. So I wonder if I can like pause all of them at the same time. Yeah, they're not going to let me pause it. It's pretty annoying. Same with this one. I think this one's good. No, that one just started to. Fix your cookie, maybe? Yeah, only a couple of these are actually ready to go. That's annoying. Yeah, fix your cookie. Fix your tracking should be good. I was tracking help. Like all these are according to this tool. Not ready to go really. That's annoying. Yeah, a lot of these are close but not quite. Yep, that'll keep you up at night. Some of these more towards the bottom, fix GTM. This one's fine. Oh, that's annoying, man. Container store. Organized profit. These are good. Okay, so I'm not doing organized automation right now. I need them to fix that. Fix high roast, fix your pixel. Let's try both of those. This one's good. Yep. Yeah, so a lot of these towards the bottom are good to go. Fix your pixel, fix high roast tracking help. Fix your tracking isn't ready to go yet. High roast tracking help seems like it would be. Okay. So some of them are good, some of them aren't. We'll see. We'll see how it plays. And they're only sending 35 a day, so let's keep that ratio together. I think I'll start real light like this and just kind of see. I need to charge my machine. All right, so that's what we're doing. Emails wise is just having inboxes, having a message for each one of these. I can show you one of these plain text sequences. Yeah, I noticed you're interested in collecting more data from your Facebook ads, right? I know that because they're using GTM, offer complimentary so it tracks conversions, blah, blah, blah. And then this is all about GTM and Facebook ads, basically. Trying to tell them to set up their GTM account on that email. Properly tracking in GTM. This is like an emoji situation. And this is all based on the copy that I received from Client Ascension. If you're familiar, they are a coaching program that does this. So I pay them a fee and they built those for me. Some of mine that I like the most are the reply yes to Hyros. So these are super, super basic. Um, I'm not like a pro at copy or anything, so I don't really know how good they're going to perform. But you know, I like it. So I'll show you some of these. It's just real basic. You're using Hyros, but are you collecting first party data? So easy, so simple. Um, I might actually modify these to make them larger font real quick. Let's do that actually. Let's do that real quick. See if it works. 18 is enough here. Make sure 18. They're gonna make me do it for every one of them, of course. It's all good. So this is supposed to be plain text as well. I'll make sure that if I save, this is good. Wait a day to follow up. This is probably the realest conversation or realest experiment I've had because this determines if I get to keep playing or not. It's a scary, scary spot to be in, but the good thing is I think I can solve this, and I have some people around me who have solved it. So if I do, then I'll have more leads than I can deal with, and also um, a way to monetize getting leads for others as well as for myself, which could be kind of cool. Because I can jump into some of these communities I'm a part of and just be like, hey, I have extra leads. If anybody wants, they don't really fit my criteria. Yeah, let's not go that big. And so that's there. So now plain text, that piece is going to be important as well. Save successful. Let's see if we can do that here. Okay, this is on campaigns that haven't started. So moving forward, I can do everything in plain text, but for now, this is what we got. Let's see if we got any webhooks. I should have something going in the, yeah, I got it going in the Slack. So if someone responds or whatever, I'll be able to capture them in Slack. Eventually, I'm going to create some automations. I want automations that go from here to somehow interacting with the list to show maybe that'd be kind of dope. The list that's uploaded would get highlighted with people who have interacted a certain way, and then I'd have a legend based on replies versus opens versus unsubscribes, and have it color coded. The more important, more practical way would be bouncing it over to high level and tagging them a certain way. So wish me luck on that. I'll figure that out eventually here. But this is the beginning of it. It's automation, it's lead gen, it's um, being able to hit some big numbers in business, bigger than I have already. Um, the reward is worth it for me, because the cool thing is yeah, if I set this up, I'm not 100% sure that I'll become a millionaire overnight. However, I know that I can earn a significant amount just from doing this and having it set right. All right, that's all I got. Peace, y'all.